Well, first off, let me congratulate John Moxley for winning the AEW World Championship for, I believe, the third time, or fourth time rather. Him against Danielson last night was supposedly a great match. Of course, I didn't see it because I don't subscribe to Sling TV anymore because I can't afford to blow $40 a month on this shit. But anyway, love Mox, great worker, great performer. Hope they keep the belt on him, but I got a funny feeling it's going to be short-lived, like everything else there. But that's beside the point. Anyway, I'm going to segue off of what I was doing before because I got a request, and also something else came up that I believe is important to talk about, which a lot of people may not want to talk about, but be that as it may, I'm going to do it anyway, and my dog's licking my hand right now. So someone had asked me to talk about Kung Fu films. And they sort of know that it isn't like one of my favorite genres. But I did see The Essentials. And, all this stuff sort of started in '72. The big one was Five Fingers of Death. That was all over the place. And the two Bruce Lee films also came out. Chinese Connection and Fists of Fury, I believe. And everybody was Kung Fu fighting except me. But anyway, the whole Five Fingers of Death thing, it was like a must-see thing, and we were hanging around. We had basically spent most of our money drinking. So we figured the best way to see Five Fingers of Death was one of us pays to get in and opens the exit door to let the other three of us in. So I don't remember exactly what theater it was. It was on the right-hand side going up. It might have been the Empire, I'm not sure, but anyway, we had one of us go in, paid whatever it was to get in, and then we were waiting by the exit door, and he opened the exit door, and we were like deer in the headlight because we were right in front of the damn screen. So we dropped in seats, nobody got us. So we watched this thing, and it was, I guess, the grand dame of all, Kung Fu movies, because it was the first one, and I think it was Lo Lee was the star. And there was all kinds of shit going on, all kinds of martial arts moves, and I think it was another one that ended with the fist through the chest and ripping out the heart, which became a staple in a lot of these films. So, yeah, that's where I saw that, and that one theater, it may have been the Empire, it may not. I'm thinking it was maybe one of the Cine 42s or something like that basically was showing 3 different Kung Fu movies once a week. They switch off every week. And it was all Shaw Brothers stuff, and the thing was, the prints were fucking horrible. They looked like they had been run over, and they were probably dubbed in New York, because I think there was an office in New York where they were dubbing import films, and there was like 4 people working the office, and they ran the gauntlet of all the exploitation and Euro stuff to hardcore porn brought in. And the reason I know this is because I had a European porn that I was gonna release, but it was a little too beat up. But I ran it just to see how beat up it was, and I recognized the voices on it. It was this one guy, he's always like an authoritative voice. So, yeah, but the other ones, I saw the 2 Bruce Lee ones, of course, had to go see Enter the Dragon. That was a good one. The director of Enter the Dragon got the job. I think his name was Robert Klaus. He got the job because of the unhinged fight on Darker Than Amber between William Smith and Rod Taylor, where William Smith actually broke Rod Taylor's arm, and Rod Taylor fucked him up a little bit, and the fake fight became a real fight. So that went, and Enter the Dragon was a big one. John Saxon was in it. Jim Kelly. I had done something in the former magazine about it that, like, the shoot was nuts. Jim Kelly was, basically out of control with some of the women over there. But yeah, it was a classic. Unfortunately, Bruce passed away before he could hit his stride again here. But other ones I saw, that Queen Boxer, where she popped out, the fucker's eyes. The hybrids I saw, when Lee Van Cleef's name comes up, I go to the movies. And it was released here as Stranger and the Gunfighter, but the real title was Blood Money. And this was teaming Lee Van Cleef with Five Fingers of Death star Lo Lee about some treasure that was, the maps were tattooed on the cheeks of hookers' asses. That was the hook there. I think the tagline was the fastest gun in the West meets the deadliest hands in the East, that type of thing. Wasn't a bad film, but you know something? When you see Lee's U.S. Navy tattoo, when he takes his shirt off, it sort of like throws you off a little bit, but that's beside the point. The other one I had seen was Shanghai Joe. Another, you know, spaghetti western kung fu hybrid with Chen Li, who really wasn't Chinese. Actually, he was Japanese. And this was set in the old Euro West, and of course he went in and pissed somebody off who was, you know, very influential there. The whole thing was he was shooting Mexicans, and he took umbrage to that and kung fu'd all the gunfighters and shit. So they brought in a bunch of people to kill him, which were mainstays in spaghetti westerns. Robert Hundar was Pedro the Cannibal. Gordon Mitchell was a gravedigger of some sort, and there was another guy in, I can't remember what the other one guy was. Klaus Kinski was Scalper Jack, who was acting even weirder than he usually acts. And of course they brought in the ultimate kung fu killer, and it ended with, you know, him getting his hand cut off and the palm thrust through the chest and pulling out the fucking heart and shit. So yeah, that's the extent of my, you know, and I saw that, this was sort of like a swan song for me too with Shanghai Joe, because that was the last film I saw at the Embassy Theater, and I believe the Embassy Theater shut down not too soon after that. Considering how much I loved that place and how it was almost a second home to me, it was a shame to just see it all shut down. The balconies were closed. The men's room was out of order. These dust heads were walking around, you know, looking to rip somebody off. I didn't stay for the second feature. After I saw that, I realized that things had really changed to the point where it was fucking dangerous to be here, so I left. Sad, but that was the swan song of that theater. Other things were that, you know, 42nd Street, this was huge, and, you know, it drew a huge black crowd because they were really into this kung fu stuff. But like I said, the one theater had booked Shaw Brothers movies, and guys walked in thinking Killer Snakes might have been a new kung fu movie, and they were pretty upset when they saw what it actually was. Same with Black Magic 2, which was, you know, kung fu zombies and shit. But, like I said, you know, and then there was a martial arts store close by. I think it was was it PIA? Yeah, it might have been PIA. They sold, you know, martial arts weapons, other weapons like knives and stuff. And everybody I know was buying nunchucks and throwing stars. And basically the nunchucks were two pieces of oak. And I don't know how many guys I know that either hit themselves in the nuts with this thing or knocked their front teeth out because they couldn't fucking maneuver it. So, you know, that was my friends doing the kung fu shit. We got this nut pop out, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? I got no front teeth. So yeah, that sort of didn't work out too well that way. Like I said, it's not really my favorite genre, so to speak, but down the road, I guess it was the early 90s, the stuff was coming in from Hong Kong and subtitled, and this came in here, which really was good. Eastern Condors. Another, I don't know if this was a Shaw Brothers one or not, but it was directed and starred Sammo Hung, who was known as the Fat Dragon, who was a product of the Peking Opera House with Jackie Chan and Yuan Biao, who was also in the movie. Unfortunately, Yuan never got over here and never did anything as far as I know. But it also had, let me see now, executive producer was Raymond Chow, so it was probably a short thing here. Let me see now. Another one who was in this was the star of The Killing Fields, Dr. Hang S. Noir, who was in it. And let me see, there was somebody else that was in... I actually think this was something after the Vietnam War. But actually, what this is, it's a Chinese version of The Dirty Dozen. And there was a woman kung fu artist, I can't remember her name was, I think she was Australian, but she wound up marrying Sammo. And Sammo was the guy who created some Chinese horror stuff also, those hopping vampires. I think his big film was Close Encounters of the Spooky Kind. Of course, for a big guy, he could move, and now I'm trying to remember the TV series over here he was in. I think it was Martial Law with Kelly Hu, which ran on, I think, USA or something. But yeah, this one, I don't know if you can find this one. It's really good, and there's a lot of kung fu action in here, more than more realistic than what I saw with, those guys jumping in the air and all the wire work and shit like that. But really good flick if you can. It's probably available. I just had this one. I just watched it the other night. A lot of action, a lot of shoot 'em ups, and a lot of martial arts work. So if you're really into this kung fu stuff, that one you got to see. And of course, I had seen all the John Woo, Chow Yun Fat stuff without subtitles, and the stuff was shot so well and done so well that I could understand what was going on without subtitles. So yeah, that's my kung fu segment for today. Wanted to segue into something else that came up yesterday. Another wrestler who I think is a really good guy and a really down-to-earth person is Eddie Kingston. And he was talking about depression and suicide and, the signs of whatever, and how, everybody has a number to call and stuff like that. But, the thing is, when you're in that situation, and I'll admit I was in that situation more than once, you don't know what to do. And you're basically, how do you describe, when you're fucking so down and you've been beaten down so much that you basically can't fucking reach out. And it's all well and good that there's people there to hear you and shit like that. But, it's like you want to make that fucking call and you can't because your head's not fucking with it. And one of my situations was when I was living up Lake Apatcon, something happened. And I was like really fucked up. And I was sitting in my easy chair with a loaded fucking .38 with one shell in it, spinning it, and basically playing Russian roulette with the fucking thing. And the only thing that stopped me from fucking doing this shit was the fact that I lived alone. At that point, a lot of people weren't in touch with me for some reason. And if I had done that, if I had pulled the trigger, no one would have fed my dog. My dog would have been alone and probably would have fucking died. So it was because of my dog Morgan I didn't pull the fucking trigger, because I didn't want nothing to happen to her. And it sort of segues into the fact that I have 2 dogs now. And let's face it, anybody's definition of normal can be whatever the fuck it is. And Eddie came out with this yesterday, that there is no such fucking thing as normal. Normal for him is he makes a living beating people up. That's his normal. What my normal is what I did all my life, which probably isn't normal when you listen to some of these stories. But again, what is normal? Getting up, doing the 9 to 5 shit, being a drone. If that's normal, I wouldn't want normal. But the thing is, and I say this again, when you're in that fucking black hole, it's really, really fucking hard to reach out, and it's really hard to ask for help. Because that's, it's not in your head. And that's the problem today is that, and it's like going back to the Apatcon thing. Nobody stayed in touch for whatever reason. I have family issues and shit like that, but it's like, I was out in the boondocks and nobody stayed in touch. And now, the one thing that isn't addressed with suicide, and there's a lot of internet bullying, and there's people that like to fucking tweak people and push them over the edge, and then, oh my God, why did he do that? They did that because of you motherfuckers. And unfortunately, I've had to deal with this shit during and after the pandemic, because I'll admit I was in a fucking bad place. And I was put in a bad place because I was watching friends of mine fucking die. And I couldn't do anything to help them because we're locked down. And, it seemed like every day something happened. Well, unfortunately, I put too much of myself out on Facebook. And there's certain people on Facebook that, hop on this shit. And, I blocked all of them, blocked their friends, blocked a guy who basically said, I don't know why anybody's on Facebook. It's a fucking waste of time. But he's on Facebook under a fake profile with his wife's name so he can spy on people. And this is what they do. All these fuckers, for whatever reason, were watching what I was doing and conglomerating shit. And then, when they couldn't get to me on the internet because I blocked them all, they started mailing shit to me. And in mailing shit to me, here's the shit. From Andy Warhol, 17 Sandusky Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Look at that address. The address is the Andy Warhol Museum. I only know a couple people in Pittsburgh that have an issue with me. Then we get another one. Let's see. This one's from Michael Hunt. How fucking cute. Mansfield, Ohio. I only know one person in Ohio that seems to have an issue with me that he doesn't want resolved. Then we go back to more shit. IP Freely, how fucking cute is that? Again from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Again, only know a couple people in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Then we get another one, R. Swede, Ron Swede. Gee, I'm supposed to figure this shit out. Another one from fucking Elucid, Ohio. You know, it's like, and then here's one. This is the teller. Because somebody does conventions out in Chicago. I guess they did Flashback Weekend. So now I get one, Jay Skinner. Again, I haven't opened these. I only opened the first one, and it was very derogatory, and even went to the fucking point to involve my mother. So this is the sort of thing they thought they could do because they're scumbags. That they wanted to, like, tweak me and tweak me and tweak me and push me over the edge. Well, guess what? It ain't going to happen. And maybe you can figure out who these people are, because I can't mention them by name, because I got somebody sitting there that's just looking to fucking hit me for internet slander. And this shit is high school shit. These people have a high school fucking mentality, and let's face it, they're fucked up. This is ridiculous. I don't retaliate on this shit because it's fucking useless, because if you're this obsessed with me, what the fuck is wrong with you? And as far as you trying to push me over the edge, you're not going to push me over the edge. Let me introduce you to the Chirella family crest. This is what I got to say to these people, and all people who play internet bullies, abuse elders, and think their shit doesn't fucking stink. It doesn't fucking matter. Pay attention to your own shit and stop bothering people, because none of you people got any fucking empathy, and I'm talking about the ones that write this letter. I try to help people out. If people are down, I try to help them out, because I've been fucking down. And the thing is, you don't know how bad this shit will affect you, but the whole thing is with these jerk-offs, you want to bring my mother into this shit, which you did? Fine. I don't have to do a goddamn thing to retaliate against you or do anything against you, because you're fucking yourselves. And let's just say there's going to be a fucking show coming up in a week or so, and all these people are going to be there, and you know something? That's where it all started, and that's where it's going to fucking end, because I really do not give a shit about that show anymore. It's a shame that I'm not going to get to see some friends of mine anymore, but they can all come down to my house. The bottom line is, if you paid attention to your own shit and just left me the fuck alone, there wouldn't be a problem. But obviously, you got some kind of fucking obsession with me, the three is, and I'm in your fucking head, and you know something? I don't care about you. I don't sweat you. If this is the best you can do, that's how fucking, this is just shows what miserable motherfuckers you are, and it's miserable motherfuckers like you that drive people over the edge. See, this isn't what addressed. It's always about the person who's going to commit suicide, not about the people who push and push and push. And maybe some people should realize that some of this is going on, and some of these people, they're just internet bullies and scumbags in general that just want to fuck with people and see how far they can go. And like I said, that's my family crest. That's been my mantra since I was 10 fucking years old. You know, you're not going to push me over the edge. I'll help people come back, and I've done that already. I've helped people that are sick. And I'm not doing this to fucking pat myself on the chest or anything like that. It's just realize something. You're not the only people on the fucking planet, and you're not the end-all, be-all to anything. And as far as the genre, the convention scene, whatever, you're a fucking skid mark on the fucking convention scene. That's all you are. And you can sit there and badmouth me all you want, because nobody's listening, and the people that did listen are the ones that fucking clued me into this shit, because you people drink after hours, run your fucking mouths, and people hear you. And that's how it got back to me. And truthfully, don't give a fuck about you. What I do give a fuck is about when you bring fucking other people into the situation, and it's unnecessary. We should be trying to help each other instead of fighting each other. But you know something? I gave up on that shit. It's been 3 fucking years. I don't care. What I do care about is the non-stop fucking bullshit. But like I said, you're tripping over your own tits on this one, boys and girls. And that's a fact. And, you know, like I said, I can't mention names here. But it's things like this where it's a gang up. It's a bunch of, like, fucking mentally disabled people, and I have to go that route because nobody fucking sane would do shit like this. But this is how you're treated when you don't go with the fucking flow. So you know, people will reach out, and I will help people, and I try to solve my own problems. I'm that type of guy, and I've been down the gauntlet of fucking whatever things that happen. And I've been put on medication, and medication didn't work for me. But I'm not gonna say that ain't gonna work for you, because it might. It's just that my body chemistry is a little bit different than everybody else's, and things affect me that way. But if you're thinking of it, please don't do it, because it's going to affect somebody. It's not only going to affect you by not being here, because I want my fans and friends to be here. I don't want anybody to check out. I don't want anybody to do something fucking stupid. So if you got to talk, there's a hotline. I don't have it on me. You can get me on fucking Facebook. You can email me if you got to talk, and I have talked to some people, and I have tried to help some people out. But don't be like these fucking scumbags and instigate shit, because you don't know what that person's going to do that you're pushing. We don't have to do shit like that. We are better than that. We are a lot better than them. So that's my message. If anybody's got a problem, anybody's feeling, what would you say, disenfranchised or whatever, you can reach out to me. I'll listen to you. I will, because I've fucking been there. And it's a big difference between, when you've been there, to the people who think, it's no big thing. It is a big thing. It's a fucking nasty big thing, because, like I said before, when you get into that fucking tunnel vision mode, nothing can get to you. The last thing you're thinking of is making a fucking phone call. So consider this a public service announcement from 42nd Street Pete. And on that note, stay safe. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. And we'll catch you on the flip side.